All right, let's talk about the debate. It is tomorrow night. I'm so freaking excited about it. This is heaven for political nerds like you and me. I was having a cup of coffee with the wife this morning. We were just joking about life and talking about things. I said, oh, the debate's tomorrow. And she got excited too. Everyone's excited. It's fired up time. It's game time, baby. And look, before we get to the rules, this debate is a really big deal. It's a really, really, really big deal. Why? Because elections aren't really about you or me. I'm talking about general elections. The primary process, that's really about you and me. When it comes to general elections for the presidency, they're about the norms, the normas of the world. The normal people in your life, your friends, neighbors, relatives, who don't really pay attention to politics. I don't like politics. You catch the game? It's those people. They are the people, sadly, who decide who wins general elections. And the norm and norma, they will tune out of life, of politics. They'll just act too busy, but they will tune in for the presidential debates, especially the first debates between the candidates. It's why after Joe Biden pooped his pants on stage during the last debate, every Democrat, pundit, and politician went on television and they were practically crying. They were giving his eulogy. Why? Because they knew it was a big deal that Joe Biden got on stage that night and pooped his pants. It wasn't a small deal. It wasn't a 24-hour outrage. Democrats knew that Norm and Norma were watching the president and finding out what you've known for 3.5 years, that he's not a functional adult. And they knew that was it for them. And tomorrow night, the debate on ABC is a big deal. Because as wired in as you are to politics, you know the headlines and the players, you know the scandals, you know all this. That's how tuned out Norm and Norma are. They have no idea. But tomorrow, they will be tuned in. And as unbelievable as this is, you should understand this. There will be many undecided voters who tune in to that debate tomorrow night, and they will decide who to vote for based on what they see at the debate tomorrow night. Many of them. I know for nerds like you, like me, it's crazy. What do you mean you're trying to decide? How do you not know? We know everything. I get it, but that's the reality. The debate's huge. So let's talk about the debate. It's on ABC. That's a disaster. We'll get to that in a moment. But the rules are wonderful. The rules that were set up to help Joe Biden, remember, these are the Biden rules that Trump agreed to. They were set up to help Joe Biden. They ended up hurting Joe Biden, and now they're bad for Dome. You're not allowed notes. That's going to kill Dome. It won't kill Trump. He knows all this stuff. They're not allowed to confer with campaign staffers. Again, that won't matter to Trump. He doesn't listen to his people half the time anyway. He's just kind of his own guy. Dome needs someone to tell her what to say. That's going to hurt Dome. Every part of this debate hurts Dome, and the part of the debate that hurts her the most is that they can't interrupt each other. You see, Dome, she needs to be interrupted. She has to be interrupted. She has to. Because all she has is the "I'm speaking" line. We've talked about this before. That's all she has. That's the only thing she can use. She doesn't have a personality. And let's again go back to the norms and norms who will be watching, who may decide the election. Tomorrow night may decide the election. If you're just now getting introduced to Kamala Harris, because they know Trump, everyone knows Trump, even the norms know Trump by now. If you're just now getting introduced, maybe you don't like Trump, you're not sure, you know gas is too high, you're kind of undecided. If you're one of those weirdos right now, Dome is not necessarily a known quantity. You know who she is. But imagine tuning in and hearing this for the first time.
We talked about those lids. So here's what I said to her. Here's what I said to her. So you know how those lids are, because this is, well, I'm just going to speak, okay? So this is it. So you know how those lids on those Starbucks cups, they're white, right? And so if you wear lipstick, they get all over the lid. And so then I find myself in meetings if I'm the only woman, and that's kind of, and so I keep taking the lid off and having my cup out so that I don't have that big lipstick mark on the lid. So I said, can we do something about the color of the lid? So that was that conversation.
Yeah. But what will tomorrow night be about? It clearly won't be about Dome's personality. If it is, she's finished. If she can't have Trump interrupt her, and he can't, then what they will have, the only thing they will have, is a series of pre-packaged speeches, and they'll have no choice but to cross their fingers and pray Dome memorize those. Remember, this is exactly what they tried. If you were paying attention, this is what they tried for Joe Biden during the debate for the same reason. He can't think, he can't talk, but hey, let's get him to memorize this. Just, hey, Joe, whenever they bring up anything, abortion, whatever, foreign policy, here, Joe, here's what you talk about. And they were banking on him just being able to regurgitate what they'd written down for him and get away with it. That's what Dome's going to try tomorrow. And it will all be based on fear. That's what it'll all be. It'll all be based on be afraid of Trump for this reason or afraid of Trump for that reason. That's how they operate. That's how Dome has always operated. Remember when she was flailing in that Democrat primary and she had no chance to even take down Joe Biden, but she knew she had to swing for the fences. So what was her home run swing? What was her home run shot? She was desperate? Well, of course, racism.
I would like to speak on the issue of race. I'm going to now direct this at Vice President Biden. I do not believe you are a racist. And I agree with you when you commit yourself to the importance of finding common ground. But I also believe, and it's personal, and I was actually it was hurtful to hear you talk about the reputations of two United States senators who built their reputations and career on the segregation of race in this country. And it was not only that, but you also worked with them to oppose busing. And, you know, there was a little girl in California who was part of the second class to integrate her public schools. And she was bused to school every day. And that little girl was me.
That's all she's got. That's all they've got. And she'll have a heaping helping of that tomorrow. So what can Trump do? What should Trump do? Well, Trump has historically done very well in the debates. Set aside the first debate with Joe Biden last election. Trump does well in debates. That happens. He's a charismatic guy. He is. He loves being on stage. He loves crowds. He loves speeches. He loves cameras. It's what he's always done. So he's completely comfortable up there. But how comfortable is he is the question. What I mean by that is he going to go completely off script, or is he going to do what he did last time during the Biden debate and stay on message? Inflation, immigration, on message all the time. He was awesome.
As president, you swore an oath to, quote, preserve, protect, and defend, unquote, the Constitution. What do you say to voters who believe that you violated that oath through your actions and inaction on January 6th and worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I don't think too many believe that. And let me tell you about January 6th. On January 6th, we had a great border. Nobody coming through, very few. On January 6th, we were energy independent. On January 6th, we had the lowest taxes ever. We had the lowest regulations ever. On January 6th, we were respected all over the world. All over the world, we were respected. And then he comes in, and we're now laughed at. We're like a bunch of stupid people. That what happened to the United States' reputation under this man's leadership is horrible, including weaponization, which I'm sure at some point you'll be talking about, where he goes after his political opponent because he can't beat him fair and square.
That was awesome. Hey, talk about January 6th, of course, stupid question. Immediate pivot to stay on message. Trump has run a campaign like that so far, a couple little flare-ups, but he's run a campaign like that so far. He did a debate like that last time. I expect him to do a debate like that tomorrow night. Unlike my producer, Matt, I'm extremely hopeful that tomorrow night will go well. But my producer, Matt, does bring up a good point. We were talking before the show. He has concerns about ABC. It is hard, if not impossible, to find a major network that is more biased than ABC. ABC is owned by Disney. You know who Dana Walden is? She's a Disney executive. Yeah, she hates Donald Trump. Also, let's talk about the moderators. Lindsay Davis. This lady you're about to see right here is going to be moderating the debate tomorrow night.
As you know, former President Donald Trump is expected to go campaign in Howell, Michigan tomorrow. Many people are aware that a month ago in Howell, KKK protesters marched in the streets with the white robes on and suggested that they support Donald Trump. I'm curious if you make anything about that connection and him going in particular to Howell tomorrow.
That's the host of the debate tomorrow night, one of the hosts, casually making a little KKK reference when it comes to Donald Trump. So he's going to be up against ABC, he's going to be up against the moderator, and he'll be up against Dome. But this was kind of the case last time. Dana Bash, Jake Tapper actually didn't do that terrible of a job. This time, in their desperation, I expect them to be much more biased and vicious in whatever ways they can be. It'll all be up to Trump because they're all going to be against him. Can he stay on message and on point like he did last time? And I think he will. Can he do that? If he can, I think we're looking good. If he can't, we're not. And let's also remember this. Maybe you'll find this comforting. Maybe this will make you have a hard time going to sleep tonight. You know, Dome's going to run on fear, racism, all this other stuff. That's her entire message is going to be Republicans hate women, Republicans are racist. Trump's entire message will be inflation, immigration, secure the border. It'll all be about policy things. Dome doesn't even have policies. There is a chance that Dome understands the voting public of this country better than Trump does now. There's a chance that's what people want. There's a chance that's what works now. And if that's the case, we're pretty much screwed. But we'll find out in November. And the debate's going to be exciting. I can't wait. All that may have made you uncomfortable or not, but I'm right. I would thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, but I know how brilliant it is, and I know you love it here. So subscribe and watch. We're going to start really ramping things up and putting some funny stuff, some interesting stuff out there, some collaborations. Either way, my YouTube channel is officially the place to be. So stick around.